Deshaun Jackson, you know how I do. But this here, this ain't about being flashy. This is game day, son. It's only about one thing. Getting that W. That's the only thing that matters right now. Boy, you ready? The past is the past, you know? It's a new day, bro. My day.
Hello, sports fans. This is James Noyce talking live from the banks of the Scioto River near Columbus, Ohio. What a weekend of sports, from football Friday night of high school football to volleyball, high school volleyball on Saturday, and also football at the Shoe. And then you have the NFL Sunday Ticket. What a great weekend of sports. It was all started by Derek Jeter's final game at Yankee Stadium last week, and then we went into the weekend. Thursday night was something else, watching Derek Jeter in his last at bat, winning the game for the Yankees. I met a gentleman a while back that was actually Derek Jeter's high school classmate, and he had shown me a lot of memorabilia that he got from Derek back in his early days of playing ball for the Columbus Clippers and also the Yankees. Derek Jeter was a great captain, and it'll be interesting to see what he does from here on out as far as whether he coaches or if he's a commentator, but all around good guy. High school football, Friday night in Columbus, Ohio. It's always known as Friday Night Football Friday night in Columbus, Ohio. And then my alma mater was playing Bexley, who was undefeated. They were undefeated 4-0 at the time. And my alma mater, the Whitehall Yearling High School Rams, beat them 9-0. It was interesting, in Saturday and Sunday's paper, there was no mention of the game or the box score or anything, but on Channel 4 here in Columbus, they showed the highlights. Then Saturday morning, I am a high school volleyball official. I've been doing it for 14 years, and the other night, Thursday night, before I got to see Derek Jeter and the Yankees, I officiated a game where we had a game. I went to the fifth and final set. In volleyball, in high school volleyball, they play the best of 5 at the varsity level. And we have 2 refs. We have a R1 and a R2. The R1 is the one that stands in a chair, and this time I was the R2. Well, the game goes into the 5th set, and we have a game. They have to win by 2, and in the 5th set, you have to go to 15. Well, the ball was hit. The ball ended out of bounds, and the line judge on my side called it in for the home team. It was definitely 10 inches out. I called it out because this year in high school volleyball, the R2 on that side of the net is allowed to call the out calls. I called it out, and I had a girl within 2 feet of me say, "Are you kidding me?" And immediately I had to pull out a yellow card, which means that the game did not end, and she shouldn't have been out on the court anyway, because they thought they had won the winning point and the whole team left. Well, the up official did not call for in the game yet, so they shouldn't have been out on the court. So I could have literally carded every girl that was out on that court, but I did the one that had made that said, "Are you kidding me?" You can't do that in high school volleyball. We still keep a code of ethics in high school volleyball, and we have the yellow card and red card. And it's the first time I used it in years. The last time was probably 7 or 8 years ago on a coach who threw down a clipboard. But that's the second time I've done a yellow card in all of my years, 14 years as a high school volleyball coach. So that was interesting. But we do keep the game clean. If we have unruly fans, they can be removed. But it's interesting to hear some of the other officials if they thumb cards or not. But like I said, that's only been my second one in 14 years of high school volleyball. That Saturday, I went over to the Novice Fawcett Center at Ohio State University, and drove down there, and the game with the Buckeyes versus Cincinnati. It was an in-state game, and Ohio State has not lost a game to another Ohio team since the 20s. So it's been a long, long time since Ohio has lost to an in-state team. So I went to a tailgating party and was also watching. It's interesting that people nowadays have satellites where they can tune in all the games. They bring these satellite receivers in and watch all these games. So I'm watching at the tailgate I was invited to. I was watching. They had two of them, two TVs. I'm watching the Michigan game, and I was in shock. They were upset by Minnesota, and Michigan's on a downturn, total downturn. I was in shock of that game. It was for the Little Brown Jug, and that Little Brown Jug between the University of Minnesota and Michigan University is the oldest trophy that is given in NCAA football. These guys have been going at it for a long, long time, and if you go on the websites, you'll see the Little Brown Jug. What was interesting in that game is because Michigan, this was their third loss in the month of September, and they had not lost 3 games in the month of September, and who knows how long. I mean, it's in the papers how long ago it was. It was a long time ago that they've lost 3 games, and I have gone on to the MGO Blue site just to hear some of their comments about, or read some of their comments about Brady Hoke. But in that game, what's interesting is that the quarterback, Shane Morris, he was in there and he had hurt his leg, and it looked like a high ankle sprain, but he stayed in the game, and you could tell that he was struggling when he was passing or whatever, and on the run and passing, he wasn't pushing off that foot, and Brady Hoke never took him out. Well, on one play in the third quarter, Shane Morris was hit, and of course the announcers thought it was a targeting hit, but he was hit hard. He went down, and when he got back up, he was woozy. He was woozy. In fact, if you now it's gone viral on YouTube. If you go and look it up, of Shane Morris being hit, you'll see that he's woozy, he's groggy. In fact, his lineman had to help him. In the meantime, Brady Hoke's on the sideline, and he acted like he never knew anything about this injury. And it was interesting that one of the players that was on the field at the time waved for the athletic training staff to come and help, and he didn't because Shane Morris was showing that he was okay, but he wasn't okay. They should have came out and checked him. I did a report in one of my research papers in my last class here on American Public University about concussions, and he definitely looked like he had a concussion. So the other team, Minnesota, gets the ball, and then he comes back on the field when Michigan gets the ball again, and they finally pulled him, and then they put Devin Gardner in because, and then Devin Gardner was in there for a while. He's doing great, and he was really picking up the team. But then his helmet came off. Well, the other third-string quarterback couldn't find his helmet. If you watch the replay of the game, he's like trying on 3 different helmets. Well, they didn't want to have a game delay penalty, so they sent back in Shane Morris. And ever since then, he's got a lot of flack. Yahoo Sports has got it on there, USA Today. The list just goes on and on of all the reports on it. CBS reported it. And, of course, the Detroit Free Press even mentioned it. And they're calling for his head. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next several days. Most announcers will say that they don't think it's right to fire someone in the middle of a season. But if you look at today's paper, Charlie Weis of Kansas was let go because of his winning percentage. It was the worst, and he was let go. But this Brady Hoke, if you go on the NGO Blue blog, they're calling for his head. They're totally embarrassed by him. They couldn't believe that they didn't take out Shane Morris, and they say that was the camel that broke the camel's back, the straw that broke the camel's back. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But the thing is, though, Brady Hoke, when you're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars, you just can't let somebody go because you're going to lose all that money. But if you looked at Michigan Stadium Saturday, it was pathetic. I mean, they showed people leaving in the third quarter. You still got lots of football left, and it was sad to see. And they announced that the attendance was 100,000, but when I've been at the stadium, I've been at the Big House, and they said that it was over 100,000. And I guarantee you, by looking what I saw on TV, there was no way it was 100,000. No way 100,000 people. And it'll be interesting how many people show up next week. Because, see, the week previously, Michigan Wolverines lost to Utah. And they had that big rain delay of over 2 hours. And when they came back, the only people who were basically in there was about 2,000 people. And it looked like it was all Utah fans. Now, back to the shoe. The Buckeyes did win their game, 50-14 over Cincinnati. It was close in the first half. Ohio State secondary, this is why they're ranked as low as they are. I mean, they jumped up in the rankings today to 18 in the coaches pool and 20th in, I believe, in the other pool. But they still got lots of problems on the secondary. They look like toast. They look like toast. The receivers were always getting behind them in the first half. But the good news is that their quarterback that took place of Braxton Miller, Ohio State's Heisman Trophy hopeful this year, who is out with a shoulder injury, J.T. Barrett, he was amazing. They had over 41 first downs on that offense. Over 700 total yards in that game. So it looked like Cincinnati's defense was nowhere near Ohio State's defense, but Cincinnati definitely had a good passing game. So I was at the Fawcett Center. I got to watch the games, and like I said, go back to that Michigan game. The thing that was interesting, that there were so many people with headphones on. They were listening up to the box where the coaches are up in the press box, and you can't tell me that those coaches didn't see what was going on down there. Now, the week before, Brady Hoke did wear headphones at some time, and then when he did his press conference yesterday, he didn't know anything about Shane Morris's injury, didn't know that he was carted off the field by a cart, didn't know any of that. So I was shocked. I was just